maybe there's something I'm forgetting.
Well, just to remind you, that was us ushering ourselves in a full year after actual lockdown. Do you remember? We got into opening up of the entirely, because we had, I think they opened up.
2023?
Yes, we are ushering a full year having been opened up.
Oh yes, having been opened up.
And clearly, it was a new experience, and we're still struggling to get back on our feet after the aftermath of the effects of COVID. And up till today, COVID seems so alive in everything we still do. I don't know if you have any particular memories about times of COVID-19, Robert.
Oh, yes,
anything
I
particular
do.
you said, this one I'll never forget?
I have friends, as you said, it continues to manifest itself, that up to now never gotten back to their feet because of COVID-19.
But they're still in the air?
What happened is their businesses collapsed. They were running entertainment places and they were renting these venues. So those 2 years, the owners of the buildings had to change structure, make them shops and all that, because they were so stuck in the entertainment industry was held for some time. So what these people...
people used to, like bars, what?
Yes, bars, and so they couldn't make ends meet. They sold off what they had.
Where are their bars? Because most of the bars were undercover or operated. Where are their bars? You should have, where did you know where you used to go, Robert?
No, Felix.
So, Mullen, anything particular to pick up from COVID times and lockdown?
Is it the negative part or the
Anything,
positive part?
whichever you choose to do.
I don't know about the negative part. There are a lot of negativity that I don't want to bring back. I want to relive that memory. But what was so unique, you know how does this whole delivery items to doorsteps? And a lot of, since there was a bit of competition.
Delivery?
Yeah. Via Safe Border, via, all these delivery things.
I didn't even ever got any
to sell
delivery.
their products. So the products were actually discounted. I remember this particular brand of chicken, Your Kuku. They had a discount.
Huh?
Yeah, that was a good time to order for chicken.
Seriously?
Yes, COVID
These
was
things
a
were
good
happening
time
with
to order
us
for
without
chicken.
us knowing.
I'm just saying, I brought out the positive.
Perhaps we used to move even uselessly,
No, they were, because they were allowed to deliver foodstuffs.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so it was a good time, like you would just, your phone call away and chicken.
Mona has just reminded me that jogging that His Excellency stopped. My friend, I was driving through Nigeria, but you would think before it was
How
stopped.
were you driving? The time no one was allowed to.
Oh, I was allowed.
I was driving.
I was allowed because there were stickers, so I would move.
Every time before even we got sticker, no one was.
Yeah, but for us who used
Uncle
to...
Bob is, I told you if you have issues, you...
I would move freely. Actually, I must say, I would move freely. Neither curfew would get me. During COVID, I didn't have any movement restrictions as personal, so I would move freely. But one thing that would interest me is seeing so many people jogging. And when His Excellency saw that this had lost focus, then he came up and stopped. But almost every hill you would find hundreds of people. You're like, before COVID, where have these people been? Where are they all? Is it because they are
They've
home?
been working.
I know.
Yeah, now
Come on, Robert.
But after the people used to see, even when they get home early, they don't do that jogging.
But let me tell you, Robert and Mullen, people needed that. Trust me, it was in need. This whole thing hit hard, and it was something that we never ever thought would know, or even had never known of. So this whole experience needed something as a distraction. But tell you what, God blessed us, God saved us. We lost lots of people, and our hearts are out for those families out there. There's a time everyone was holding on to each other, praying that they'd be able to go through the next day. Everyone had someone they know in ICU. Remember those days when ICU, then there was this second wave which had lots of oxygen. That one was more traumatizing. Personally, I think I also had a trauma shock because of that. We lost a couple of people we know. My friends lost parents, lost very, very close people. So today we stand here this beautiful day. No one is talking about COVID-19. No one is talking about the restrictions have actually been far, far away from us most recent. And actually the World Health Organization also came out to add that the world had been declared no longer a threat towards COVID-19. Isn't that a good thing? Isn't that something for us to celebrate
But
today?
not to
on this
forget
beautiful
that it's
day?
not away from us. Recently, our president.
Well,
covered-
I know that for a fact. But again, it's no longer a scare
Definitely.
by the World Health Organization. There are sporadic cases. There are pockets of this, even not only in Uganda, but now it's no longer international. It's no longer an international requirement for you to prove, to do all these what's my CP, what tests and what, all these things. So clearly that's something we bless God for on this beautiful Friday. It was Friday like this in COVID times, and no one, the only thing you talk about after work, where you're going home, like home and home and home and home. So today we can talk about many things. Robert just talked about colleagues who lost workplaces and all that. Isn't it a good thing to be happy on this beautiful Friday? Something else that did happen yesterday. We did see the convening of a meeting by, is it yesterday? When the speaker came out with a couple of directives.
The speaker
Yeah, with
the
a couple of people in various ministries. But also, sadly, the riots in Kenya. I was taking a look into these, and I was feeling really, really concerned. I saw this kind of hooliganism that we never, people would love to think that these countries have a bit of expedited democracy and what, but I think they are falling short of their definition. They are
That's a
burning
bit of
roads, they are
stability.
breaking infrastructure. Like, what's happening? It's really a sad thing what we saw in Kenya. I don't know if any of you took time to pay attention to what's happening down that side.
I was looking at, specifically on the roads, there's, I think one of the roads is it to Lodo, where they actually were burning all these things on the road and people were stuck. Like you can't drive through
Yeah.
because there is a riot, and there's someone who was shooting the video in the background, you know, like proudly saying, look what we've done. Like,
Yeah, and
this
can
is
you
rare
imagine?
to
And,
see.
from the, I sort of like had a couple of interviews last evening, and politicians were proud of what they did. Like, and I'm not, what kind of leaders are we struggling with in?
I think people are reacting to some of the new incentives, I would call them, that Ruto has been putting across, and I think there's a lot, because we know that even with President Ruto getting to presidency, it was like a 50%. There is a 50% in
that is
Kenya
opposing his,
that is opposing his,
or even
his
much more than
presidency.
that.
Yeah, so you're
Possibly
seeing
probably
all
much
these people, and Raila is not helping, because
That
he
old
has all
man,
these
that old man.
followers behind him that believe
really
in the
don't know
changes
what's
that he thinks about. So
I don't know what people
it's
think,
crazy.
honestly.
Right now, Kenya is at a very hard point, because it seems now a small thing is triggering them. For example, when government came out and said, look, we are going to have all drivers go back to driving schools and do a test to prove their fit on the road. When the truck drivers and public vehicles parked, because the driver said, for us, it's going to be a peaceful demonstration, well, the youth picked on. And the worst comes when Jaja Raila Odinga, he's a catalyst, you know, because for him he believes that he won power and is not willing to rest at any one point until Ruto leaves office, not by his term ending. He's put up a lot of resistance, and I think this is the issue, because now they're not politically led riots. No, it's anything will, as long as you still have somebody who is still doing underground work. Because the youth I was seeing holding stones, doing this, they bring us back to 2011, when you're just, where youth would, anything would just set them to come and
crazy,
act,
then.
and because some of these riots they're having are not very well, you look through, and the
So,
reason is just,
well, you know, you wouldn't conclusively say that. I think everyone struggles with their own pain, and they see the magnitude in different formats. But we pray for the people in Kenya. We don't want to act
as
like
long
big
as there's a
brothers.
catalyst, it
Well,
becomes worse.
you can call him that. People will call him a savior. Everyone sees him in a different way. But we pray for you guys. Your country needs some sanity. Your brothers, your sisters, and we pray that this thing comes to rest. Most recently, you've lost lots of people in accidents. We pray, because just like they say, when indeed they sneeze, we do feel the pinch of that. Now, lastly, before we get into our local stories, guys, there's a story yesterday that was quite disturbing. There's a particular sector of government that spent over 6 billion training youth on how to take coffee, like how to.
No way.
Yes, way. It actually happened, but Usopp like will be looking
Not how to grow coffee or
How
to
to
No,
drink.
no, no, no. This is.
You know
what
about
happens.
it, Robert?
Yes, and
No,
I can
we're
explain.
still in the same
Not the
country.
amount of money,
They don't.
but what I'm trying to say is why that initiative was put in place.
no, Robert.
No, listen.
Which initiative? To teach people how to
To
drink?
promote, it was called promoting domestic consumption of coffee in
Do you know
Uganda.
the expense
By
that was
training
attached,
people
Robert?
how to
This
take
is what
coffee.
happens. That much as we are one of the leading countries producing coffee in Africa and in the world, we do not consume that coffee as Ugandans.
Oh, Lord.
We don't have a culture of taking coffee. People
Okay.
take majani, people
Okay.
take tea and all that. So there was need to promote use of coffee here home. So that even
So
when
use
our
of coffee
issues-
is drinking coffee.
Yes,
Just put
drinking
it that
coffee.
way.
Because if there is anything and our international market is not there, then it will be a danger to us. So they had to invest money into promoting this culture of people taking coffee.
Okay, so how was that supposed to be done?
Of course,
They had to fly in cups and saucers and then
how it
straws.
was done
And then
and the cost involved, but the initiative was very good. But how it was done, I wasn't party to that. But
okay, all of us here have done non-professional marketing. Robert, you're also a marketer in some way because you do business. Molenia is in business, pastry and what. Personally, I may not have, but I've done marketing and actually at a professional level with a established company. Here's the thing, Robert. When you want people to know your good and consume it, you don't go giving that. Like, that is a different thing. You put up marketing strategies. And then you start. Actually, the Auditor General raised that concern. Was in the Auditor General's report and was saying people spent over 6 billion teaching people how to take coffee.
And which people were through that initiative? Because as far as I remember, I did not see any campaign going around. I have not seen any kind of advertisement about
They have
you know,
their
this
people.
is how
They
you
have
actually
their
take
people.
coffee.
Uganda.
So clearly Ugandans are not even aware that they were told
I
how
only
to
got to
take
know about it
coffee.
when Auditor General raised it also.
I'll bring those
Exactly.
people
But I'm in the
here and
media.
roast them and
Don't bring them
and they will
here.
tell you
will
No,
not
why
tell
it
us.
came
Robert,
that
we have
amount.
not seen those people here teaching people how to drink coffee.
We need to
You,
promote
No, Robert.
domestic consumption of coffee.
you put the cup on your mouth and sip. What's there to teach? Do they drink coffee? Like, what's the difference?
Oh, you see,
Anyway, we'll go look at our local stories because we need to give our viewers an update of what's happening in Uganda. Now, that is something that is really
you must learn how to take
mind-baffling.
coffee. Well, looking at our local stories this morning,
Chirao, you learn to take your coffee. Me,
I think
Anyway,
he was
let's look
one
at-
of the beneficiaries.
most probably.
I'm starting to
Most
think
probably. And
Chirabo
Chirao is
was-
No, no, I'm
sometimes
part of
I
that
think
campaign.
he
no, I'm
benefits
just,
from this.
I'm just very visionary and I look at things sometimes differently from other
Your
people. Like
vision
when
is
I
one
tell
thing,
you we need to
Robert.
promote, I'm envisaging, we had COVID and all that, what if we have another time and we can't export our coffee? What do our farmers do? If we've promoted domestic consumption,
These are the
we
people
won't
that
have
need
these problems.
mindset
So it's just being
change
visionary
thing.
and looking ahead in terms of in case something goes wrong.
Can we look at our local stories at least?
So, the visiting president of the Islamic Republic of Iran laid a foundation for the future collaboration with Uganda and demonstrated the commitment of both nations to fostering mutual beneficial relations in various fields. Some of the key areas identified by the president of Iran and Uganda, they believe this is a very big move as far as promoting mutual interest and benefits.
Now, the Prime Minister Robin Anabanja yesterday met the Kingdom of Saudi Arabian Ambassador to Uganda, His Excellency Jamal Mohammed Hassan, and discussed a wide range of issues between the two sister countries. The meeting did take place at the office of the Prime Minister in Kampala.
And moving on, money here, the Ministry of Works and Transport seeks for 40 billion shillings to facilitate the motor vehicle registration and licensing. In a closed-door meeting chaired by the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Amongi, registration of vehicles was among the resolutions cited to bridge the gap of poor road usage in Uganda. The Ministry of Works and Transport has also been tasked to expedite the regulation for the Road Act 2019, which has since remained silent.
Now, the National Population and Housing Census exercise will not take place in August as earlier planned. Now, Uganda Bureau of Statistics says it is not feasible because a number of pre-census activities like procurement of tablets, publicity, recruitment and training of census staff, plus developing digital maps are still pending. And while updating the press on the forthcoming population census exercise at the Statistics House in Kampala, the Deputy Executive Director of the WIBOS, Geoffrey Godfrey Nyabongo, said they are finalizing a report on how far they have gone with preparation, now to submit it to the Ministry of Finance to be presented to Cabinet that will decide on the dates to conduct the census.
Now, in international stories, Hollywood actors are going on strike, joining a stoppage by screenwriters to usher in industry's biggest shutdown in more than 60 years. The Screen Actors Guild wants streaming giants to agree to a fair split of profits and better working conditions. Some 160,000 performers will stop work at midnight. Stars Cillian Murphy, Matt Damon and Emily Blunt left the premiere of Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer in London as the strike began. Now the stoppage means that vast majority of US film and TV production will grind into a halt. The Screen Actors Guild strike starts at midnight Los Angeles time. Picketing will begin on Friday morning outside of California's headquarters of Netflix before moving to Paramount, Warner Bros. And Disney. New cancer cases have doubled in France since 1990. According to the figures published by Public Health France, around 433,000 new cases of cancer are now detected in France each year. That number has been doubled since 1990. Experts note a stark increase in the number of new cases among women and a hike directly correlated to their increased tobacco consumption. Now in DRC, a leading member of opposition in the Democratic Republic of Congo has been found dead. The body of Cherubin Okende was discovered riddled with bullets in his car in the capital, Kinshasa. A government spokesperson said it was shocked to learn of his assassination. Mr. Okende was the government's transport minister before he resigned from office in December last year to join the opposition party Ensemble pour la République of Moïse Katumbi. He became also the party's spokesperson. Tensions are said to be high ahead of the next election at the end of this year. Now in climate news, a heat wave is sweeping across parts of southern Europe with potential record-breaking temperatures in the coming days. Temperatures are expected to surpass 40 degrees Celsius in parts of Spain, France, Greece, Croatia and Turkey. Now in Italy, temperatures could reach as high as 48.8 degrees, and a red alert warning has been issued for 10 cities, including Rome, Bologna and Florence. On Tuesday, a man in his 40s died after collapsing in the northern Italy. According to Italian media, they also reported that the 44-year-old was painting zebra crossing lines in the town of Lodi near Milan before he collapsed from the heat. He was taken to the hospital where he later died. Several visitors to the country have collapsed from heat strokes, including a British man outside of the Colosseum in Rome.
Well, many and much more of those stories. We'll be giving you a couple of updates if there's anything new against that. But this whole heat wave in Europe, it's quite scary.
It's spanning, and it looks like it's just increasing. More countries are getting affected and breaking records. It's worrying.
We do continue to pray for our brothers out there. The world is struggling with so much. We're struggling with hunger. I also saw another story, Mollen and Robert. Just I think this week, over 50 people have drowned in the sea trying to get to these European countries, like children.
That is something that always happens, by the way. A year there was a report that showed about 4,000 are lost trying to cross.
It's very true. It's really, really sad. We're struggling with that. A couple of, I think a month, a week. You know, while people are trying to find life, others are actually taking their life.
And the worst
like
thing
the people
is,
who went to see this Titanic wreck thing. Like some people, like
You can't
God's
stop
creation.
adventuring.
It's what I'm saying.
Adventuring
It's
is
what I'm
okay.
saying. And that's why we respect God and we can't stop to praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on a Friday like this. Because as people are fighting for lives in ICU, others are literally taking their lives. There are people who are committing suicide, like the irony of life. But let's take a break. We'll be back shortly to give you a couple of spicing. That's a combination of music and here and there. And of course, later on we'll be having a topical discussion, and that will be followed up by a couple of other scenarios, like share with you what movies to look out for this weekend, what books you need to read, but also what's happening in sports. It's something very, very interesting. Yesterday, I watched the interview of Dele Alli. Did you see it? You saw it? Did you manage to see it?
No,
It is very touching. You should find time and watch it, man. It just took me very, very far about how people struggle personally. And we never notice. Yeah, celebrities actually, yeah. I've had musicians give their stories. One of my closest friends, Robert, doesn't want to hear that, but it's a reality.
but
one
you know, I
time,
don't want.
Eh?
You know, I don't want one. Again, you're going to say.
Yeah, like I said, I have nothing to do for you. But there's a time, I remember in COVID when Kenzo was locked up in Sierra Leone. He attempted to kill himself like twice. He went through some depression, trauma. Actually, he says, when we were talking, he used to tell me, man, every time I go to the balcony, something tells me like, jump, like the world, everyone hates you. Like, people struggle silently. Let me just put it that way. When I was watching this interview of Dele Alli, I just felt broken. And I think it says a lot about parenting. Our kids depend on our formation. Honestly, when I listen to this, and probably this is a conversation we can add up to any, but there's a lot for us to do as parents. Every moment we neglect about our children will come back to haunt them. And they're paying for a cost they actually don't have to. But let's take a break. We'll be back shortly.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by Gatawo with MTN Momo Advance. Momo Advance tops up your Momo to complete your transactions. Dial *165*5*3# to apply. MTN Momo Advance is always available when you need it.
This Preno, as the name prescribes, is the project for restoration of livelihood in northern region. So it was designed to support the population in order to implement the national programs of wealth creation, improving household income, and this is done through supporting agriculture. And by supporting agriculture, you support seed production, training of farmers, mindset change, and even it went ahead to have components of food security grants, whereby families were given grants to be able to improve their food security. But there was also community-based natural resources grants, which were given to families to put in place woodlots, which would help them to reduce on killing the vegetation and deforestation, looking for energy or for firewood.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or gift. Get freaky too! Dial star 100 star 0 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 100 star 4 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 100 star 0 hash to get started.
Airtel, a reason to imagine.
Juko.
Yo.
Wachikuwa. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the Parish Development Model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The Parish Development Model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Program My School, a great students program and your answer to education perspective, giving you reason as to why you should pay school fees for a child's education with items like students' talents, thoughts, adventures and skills showcased, leadership skills and all other activities plus concerts in various schools in your locations. Remember that our children are our future generation. Don't miss Program My School.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Juko.
Yo.
Wachikuwa. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the Parish Development Model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The Parish Development Model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
This is the University of Africa. On the streets, you get your real education. Here, everybody has a degree of something. But the most important qualification is imagination. His reason is to be the GOAT. The reason to imagine is to take the beat and make it lit. So no matter what your situation, just use your imagination.
In fulfillment of the constitutional obligation, which mandates the state to make reasonable provision for the welfare and maintenance of the aged, the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development is implementing the Social Assistance Programme for Empowerment, SAGE, designed to provide income security and reduce poverty among older persons. Over 300,000 older persons in 146 districts in Uganda have benefited from the grants. The income security has made life better for eligible older persons aged 80 years and above, registered with the National Identification Registration Authority, NIRA.
Niye dunazio kajimba ni chinana na bunu. Sauda ndugu ni mwanzali. District ya Kabali mpaka tweta. Batwesi bagira ngo mwene yakenge twaje bagambi. Kandi bali banu umunakazitu. Umunakazitu yobuzarwa bashanga twiki. Basi tukagira ki? Bakatuyandika twakwate site. Sinyambire n'abana banje babiri nibazogera. Abana banje nabo umwe aje musigara cyambo musina ya mukaga undi aje musina ya kabiri ari shorozaha undi no kamara university kuna uganda tinembuzi amwene naga matafari ngashima kagurane na arkeji na mabali haliya kandi nisezi kanya abo bana nina muneza cyakazu Yabuku batine kasete hako nabone nsima nanga usima vampiro yandi kushetu wakatwire kasete kita ko bugunsi kandi bacyari bakahabana keje mu Rwanda bahana bukupa na keje kuri tutu bakatwire.
This is a message from Expanding Social Protection, ESP, implementing the program under the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development. ESP, better life chances for all.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
Amaina gange ndi namaganda Mariamu Monda myoga jaida emyoga ejitandika okuida nafunamu esente bampa yakakaira ke sente bwe bampa akakaira ke sente nayiye ekyokukola nasookera ku mutiere omutiere gwapanga beeyi naguvwako nanoni omwana twageddaga n'amagezi nagema esente edo namuga yaje yagula supeya owebyuma muno pichipichi ne obugaali buti saa eno ndi kuyiya okuleeta ebyuma ebimala kubwe n'abakabiri bampaireyo ku esente nakuba okunonya y'abaana babeegeresenga gano okukanika ki pichipichi era bali kujja mpolampola nga bakanika era esente bwe tunaaba tudifuna nenda kwongera mu maani mu sente bwe naaba ndifunye twongeremu ntewo bizinensi emala nenda okwebaza gavumenti egiira okutulowoozaako niife abagansi mu kyalo okufuna esente kuba twalinga n'esente nga tulumukira mu banka bugiri butige baida ku nomba ngeno najjayo ku baida ku nomba baida kutaa ku bigandiiko aye dino tutwalayo mpolampola nenda okwebaza gavumenti olw'okulowooza ku nsonga eyo mukama abawa omukisa.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Now, Friday edition it is, where we do bring something quite special, beautiful, and definitely fine, different from our normal programming. Now, today, in a special way, we want to give you some good vibes of one of those ladies you would want to see on your screens again and again and again, because of how she does her thing now, that is music, and definitely she does a lot of cooking of that same music herself. She does write and sing. And tell you what, I would want to introduce you to the beautiful Rona Runji. Is it? Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
Fine.
I love your jacket. Is it a jacket, a blazer? It's a what?
It's a jacket.
It's a jacket. I love your jacket.
Yeah.
How have you been?
I'm good.
You're welcome to Good Morning Uganda. Okay. Yeah. So we'll be getting to get to know you much better later on. But right now, we just can't wait to listen to what you're going to be giving us in terms of music.
Yeah.
And what's that you're going to be singing for us?
I'm going to be singing Kamunguluze, one of my best audios.
Oh.
It's called Kamunguluze.
Kamunguluze means like
yes,
someone is what's that in English?
Dizziness.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what this guy brings you, or this situation, what what's the Kamunguluze about?
It's actually a love song.
Oh, love. Yeah. Okay. So how does love turn into Kamunguluze now?
Like it's Mpulira Kamunguluze, Olinzi Salavu, you know?
Oh. Let's listen to this beautiful track by, that is Rona Runji.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Tuloze Pulira Kamunguluze Funa Kantoloze Pulira Kamunguluze Eno pepepe obongo bwagwamu wabumalamu sente ndaba ffe twatamukago kwesibanga iriziyo mba mkiwato soshuwa elinga maziga nsuwa owoomanga kama mukutu baby ngokankubya omwagalwa onkutula onsitula wankulira bulungi sebo wakikuba onkutula onsitula wabimalayo nze shuwa ye Linzi salavu mwana go linzi salavu olinzi salavu mwana go linzi salavu olinzi salavu mwana go linzi salavu funa kantoloze tandise okugonderera naye lwaki omutima ng'ogutwala nnyo lwaki laba ndikulubala mani ndalyatto lya mukwano naye nzimanja mutima gwange the way you rise me and put me down okikola otya nesifa kati wafuuka bidde ku mutwe osulako Uno mukwano gugenda kunetuza yeah Olinzi salavu mwana golinzi salavu Olinzi salavu mwana golinzi salavu Olinzi salavu mwana golinzi salavu Funa kantoloze Pulira Kamunguluze Funa kantoloze Pulira Kamunguluze Eno pepepe obongo bwagwamu wabumalamu kwesente ndaba ffe twatamukago kwesibanga iriziyo mba mkiwato and I love it so pure Elinga maziga nsuwa owoomanga kama mukutu baby ngokankubya omwagalwa onkubisa onkutula wankulira bulungi sebo wakikuba
ankutula wabimala yonze shuwa mpulira kamunguluze funa kansoloze mpulira kamunguluze Let's go fire now. Fire.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
This is the University of Africa. On the streets, you get your real education. Here, everybody has a degree of something. But the most important qualification is imagination. His reason is to be the GOAT. The reason to imagine is to take the beat and make it lit. So no matter what your situation, just use your imagination.
Juko.
Yo.
Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the Parish Development Model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The Parish Development Model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
And in talking news, MTN has improved on their data voice bundles. You can now call across all. We've talked to several eyewitnesses on the ground, and this is what one of them had to say. Amos, did you hear about the MTN daily voice bundles? So, to join many more other Ugandans enjoying these MTN daily voice bundles, dial *100 *21# or use the My MTN app to start enjoying. Stay tuned for more offers from MTN.
Amaina gange ndi namaganda Mariamu Monda myoga jaida emyoga ejitandika okuida nafunamu esente bampa yakakaira ke sente bwe bampa akakaira ke sente nayiye ekyokukola nasookera ku mutiere omutiere gwapanga beeyi naguvwako nanoonya omwana twageddaga n'amagezi nagema esente edo namuga yaje yagula supeya ow'ebyuma muno pikipiki ne obugaali guti saa eno ndi kuyiiya okuleeta ebyuma ebimala ku bwena abakabiri bampaireyo ku esente nakuba okunoonya y'abaana babeegeresenga gano okukanika ki pikipiki era bali kujja mpolampola nga bakanika era esente bwe tunaaba tudifuna nenda kwongera mu maani mu sente bwenaaba ndifunye twongeremu ntewo bizinensi emala nenda okwebaza gavumenti egiira okutulowoozaako niife abagansi mu kyalo okufuna esente kuba twalinga n'esente nga tulumukira mu banka bugiri buti ebaida baida ku numba ngeno najjayo ku baida ku numba baida kutaaku bigandiiko aye dino tutwalayo mpola mpola nenda okwebaza gavumenti olw'okulowooza ku nsonga eyo mukama abawa omukisa.
This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Good Morning Uganda Friday edition. Now it is a special one because we do bring a little bit of discussions a bit lower. We don't want to get you stressed with all this daily whole notion about what's troubling this beautiful country, but want to come to probably things that are a bit closer to you now. Today our topical discussion is going to be still rotating around schools and families. There's been a very big outcry relating to schools and how they handle children. Now, here's the thing. Parents make a dedicated choice to send kids to school, and at all levels, just so you know. From preschool to probably university. And the intention and the thought is that this work should be done by teachers. In terms of academics, the learning should be done by teachers. But most recent, parents are having sleepless nights. They're having nightmares with this thing they call homework and various activities that schools want to involve parents in. Like for some schools, I've seen movie night, I've seen contact day, I've seen all these funny. There are very many. Previously, we used to have 2 days in the calendar: sports day, which was normally in first term, I think. Then MDD, which was in second term, and third term was left for majorly academics because it was a promotional term. Today you have all these days. You have contact, movie day, then you have this called what? Checking day. You check, like there's a lot of days. And this whole thing, a couple of parents are giving this outcry. Like they feel like school is the money, for the money we are paying, we are sharing a lot of, we are becoming co-workers. For example, you give a child homework every day of the term. Now, that's also work for me as a parent. Like, I have to leave whatever I'm doing thinking, and truth be told, why do schools think overall that every parent is elite? No, honestly and truly. Like that's the worst segregation we see from schools. Like, what happens to parents who didn't go to school? Don't their kids have now to do homework?
Man, even the syllabus has changed.
Exactly. The difference, the exposure is totally different. So we're going to be discussing something relating to that, and we'll also invite you to be part of our topical discussion in trying to break down this and see how we can forge a way forward, both for us as parents and definitely as school institutions. I'll be able to share with us on our WhatsApp number that will be running on your screen. And I'll bring in Molin here quickly. Are you a victim? Let's start there. Of all this. At least I've said so many things. Any of them, are you a victim?
Yeah, sure.
Which one is it? Of the parent who doesn't know the word?
No. I can't believe you're saying that. But also, I could put myself in the shoes of people who probably don't understand anything about homework. And they've given you all these things that you probably didn't learn, and they want you to now kind of mentor this kid and show them what to do, and this is embarrassing. I saw it. I saw it in one of Kanzime's comedy kids. Like, you're embarrassing me in front of my child, like, because they're clearly going to see that you don't know what you're saying or what you're doing. And at one point I remember I was doing helping someone with homework, and then she saw me Googling, and then I think she kept quiet for that particular moment. So the next time I was doing it and I was like, I don't understand this. She's like, but why don't you Google? Now kids also know that we are Googling these things, and what does that say about the whole education system? So I think there is need to harmonize there. Because first of all, I would believe that homework is probably a topic they have already taught them, and they want them to probably remember or revise on the work they have given them. But guess what? That's not the case. Usually the homework they give them is on a topic they haven't covered. I don't know whether they're expecting a primary child to start making research about what is going on. Because clearly, some of these topics are strange. Even when you check their books to see whether they have covered it so you can point them to the answers are not there. But something else also away from the homework and all that, even to the upper levels, like high school, I've noticed a certain trend. I do have a student in S6, and guess what? From the very start of the year, they have been asking for constant pay facilitation for certain activities that seem to be recurring. In first term, you pay for mocks, you pay for registration, you pay for curriculum development, and then in second term, they're still asking for the same fees. So I reached out to the school and I was asking them, look, how about the mock fees that we paid last term actually? How come we are repaying this? They're like, no, this is for the continuous assessment, the tests that we are giving them to facilitate, them to be able to go for the mocks when they are ready. I'm like, but isn't that your job? Isn't that why we are paying school fees? For you to prepare them to pass? Like, no, these are extra examinations, so you have to pay for them too. I'm like, okay, fine. Then at the same time, we are paying facilitators that are actually coming into schools to do what? To help them pass. So we are paying facilitators for the same thing that you also as a school are making us pay double for it. So I think schools are taking advantage of parents in that regard, because you want your child to pass, you end up paying for all these activities that are probably not even necessary, or even when they are necessary, you're double paying for them. Then there is that whole thing about, I'd want to talk about the trips. Now, recently, they have also moved on to encourage students to bring aces on what they should do while in holidays. Last holiday, I witnessed one thing. This particular school, they sent students to go for a trip to a poultry farm, a trip to a landing site, a trip to, was it a factory, to a certain factory. So they wanted, as parents, we take these students, and then they had questionnaire on what we should be looking out for. I'm like, why are we the ones doing this activity? Why not you ask us to pay you the money so that when you take them to these trips, you know exactly what you're focusing on. So for example, the reason why the school is taking a child to a landing site, they're probably learning about fishing, or everything involved in that activity. But me as a parent, I'm not going to know what you as a school were focusing on to develop this particular trip. So my question is, why are they now extending the responsibility to the parents? 3 whole trips, educational trips, that they wanted parents to be the ones to take kids to. And to me that was unfair, because we struggled. I remember struggling, and we got to some poultry farm. It wasn't even that huge because we couldn't identify one. And then the child actually asked us, but this is, you're not going to answer this. We need an expert here. So we brought this lady, a local lady, who couldn't even understand whatever the child had on the paper.
So here's the thing, I really feel your frustration, Molen. When it comes to these trips, I think they've been abused. We must believe, first of all, the fees are so high. Like someone tells you, ask your kid, where are you going? To a bakery. How much are they asking? 100.
Yeah.
Where is the math? Okay, but of course, you know, kids, then they'll start crying because teachers have told them, make sure you cry when, and like you know, this is true. Like a kid is there all sulking, I won't greet you, not my friend, what. Then you have,
okay. You're guilted into.
That's the thing. So you tell the kid, okay, I'll take you there. No, I want to go. Anyway, Robert, what's the biggest frustration out of all this we're looking at?
I'll begin with homework, but I want to first give you a general perspective.
Of course, I knew that was Robert's problem. I don't even know why I asked that. It goes without mention.
First, if there is any part of life where we need services, where Ugandans have been exploited, is the education sector.
How? How so?
This sector, it ought to be regulated, and there are regulations.
Isn't it?
But there is no implementation. Let me give you an example, and a quick one. According to Ministry of Education and Sports, children in pre-primary, and now I mean baby class, kinder, middle, and top class, or middle class, these children are not even supposed to do tests. You know? They are not, according to the ministry. It is there stipulated. According to the ministry, a child entering P1 is not supposed to be subjected to an interview. Because it is clear, once a child clocks 6 years, they should be in P1. Now, even issues such as homework, it is very clear this shouldn't be there. Now, still in the Ministry of Education, it gives guidelines as to when a school is supposed to increase school fees, the procedure they're supposed to follow, including writing up to the permanent secretary. And this must be approved by the parents, teachers committee, the school board. You don't wake up because you're director. According to the ministry, you can't start a school and you're the alpha and omega. There must be a board of directors. There must be a body that represents the teachers, the parents, and if so, the students for secondary school. Now, these are nowhere. Go visit ministry-backed triple deckers. They're everywhere in schools. So, we as parents remain when we have nowhere to run to. You take your child to a school, you've become a slave to those that began this school, or those in the leadership of this school. Government in the field of education has not assisted parents as far as students or pupils' welfare is concerned. They have left the parent to move in a game park full of lions, and you're on a border going through, to be eaten by these hungry lions. With commercialization of education, parents are crying at all levels, in all institutions. Because where do you run to? I've seen the PS issue a number of circulars, the Ministry of Education. Don't increase this, don't do this. Even the extra things that they ask children to report back to school with. You ask me for a broom, a rim, a carton of toilet paper, what? So much. How many times has the ministry written and said, don't take those things? But because it is more of just writing and lip service, parents are left to the hungry lions that tear us. Felix has just spoken here. That the teacher psychologically plays on the mind of the child.
Honestly, I've been a victim.
Yeah?
I've been a
because
victim.
The teacher knows that this child will pester the parent, even create a mood. In the morning, as soon as school starts, who have not yet paid for that trip? Put up your hand. No, who have paid for that trip? And then, already, so your child feels now
actually, here's the thing. When you go to pick them, like for example, to school,
yes.
Yeah.
The first thing she says, she gets in the car and the chick has a mood like,
yes,
young woman, how are you?
Like I'm the only one who has not
She's
paid
like,
for
I'm
this.
fine. Like, okay, you're fine, but your face is saying something different. Like, I'm fine. Like, okay, can we talk? Like, what's wrong? You don't love me? Like, where are you getting these words? Like,
that's because you see, they have played on her psychology to position you to be able to pay for this trip. Now, who is monitoring all this? The ministry is not helping us. Let me go to homework.
Your nightmare.
My nightmare. Now, and not only me, even Honorable Betty Namboze Bachireke. We are in the same.
But does the Honorable have young kids that have?
Yes, she said this homework.
Yeah, she
and she brought it up. Yes, very, very upset. Now, I'll give you a personal experience. Decades back, when some of us were in school, we had what we called vowels.
Just say.
Felix, you remember vowels?
A, E, O, U.
Now, this time, children are learning sounds, not vowels.
Which is a good thing, I think.
Yeah? So you bring homework to me.
Who learned vowels?
Who learned vowels? And for you, you know sounds.
But how different are they?
They are, for example, in coming up with a word, the yes. A, E, O, U.
For example, let's say we use the word morning. No, the word morning.
Now, how you read that? You're taking me again that sentence.
Okay, well, let's use a simple one.
What happens is a child comes home.
Cup.
For them, they will pronounce C as think ka, then the U, so they pronounce the word.
Then ha.
Then for you, you're coming
Ka,
A,
ki, ko,
so for you have a different word. You get it? But of course sounds are more easier and direct.
Yeah.
That was a very good thing by the ministry to change, and they go to sounds.
Yeah, that's why when you hear people they say Z, like the way they spell, they say.
That's why you hear some
Z, Z, Y.
They don't call it Z like Z.
Yeah, for them they have. Now, a parent finds a problem there because they may not be at par with what. Second, my other concern, today, this extra baggage. You see,
which baggages are you talking about, Robert?
You're talking of people who don't have self-drive. But it starts with school. That this child is just packed. A child was picked home at maybe 5. Pre-primary.
5 a.m.
5 a.m.
Pre-primary?
Pre-primary. We meet these vans when you are coming to work.
Yeah.
I don't want to mention schools.
Yeah, that's...
Rich's class had some sleeping as she's being rotated around. Rich's class, very tired, goes to studying. Then even when they come home, the van reaches at around 5. This child should have some time to play, socialize. What makes a child? Now you know by 7, he or she may start dozing, the poor little one. So the moment this child comes from home, the first thing is go and shower, eat your food, sit on table, do your homework. Then immediately maybe do some praying. When you go to the schools, we used to have preps, and preps were for you to read, isn't it? What you've been studying during that day. When you go for prep time, you revise. Today preps are about teaching our children. Yeah. Prep time is no longer prep time. Then at the end of the day, you say these youth are not employable because they don't have self-drive, self-motivation. Throughout the education system, they have been pampered. There is nowhere they have left for them to know that I must revise my notes. These have started, let me rest. They can't program themselves. They're like computers.
So, Robert,
they have been programmed.
Okay, and what Mullen says and Robert does bring into context as well, I do agree with them entirely. And I can just simply add something, like probably starting with what Mullen said. Now, Mullen did bring an aspect of extortion. She just tried to put it in kind words. I think every parent is feeling this. Starting from lately, previously we used to cover our books with calendars, newspapers. Today, when they give you that sort of like, it's called circular or what, whatever thing they call it that has breakdown of things you're supposed to buy, there's also a budget for book covers, which is about 50,000 or whatever. Now, you come down. Today, school uniform alone costs about 0.5.
Yeah.
Very good suits.
But they will have a like.
And you try and even make a copy of that by yourself outside. They don't allow.
Now, and to make things worse.
Just a minute, Felix. You've talked about that extortion. When we were, we had some place around Uganda House. All schools by the Chitante, Nakasero, where these people had uniforms and badges. I don't know if school. Today they tailor it on the shirt. That even if you found a shirt of a cost that you can afford that is cheaper, same material, same quality, this badge is sold. Actually, so you can't get it.
Actually, because it was used to be stamped on the pocket.
Yes.
So, but here's a problem. You see, why we discuss this, and I just want to put it in context for our viewers, we're not trying to attack schools or the ministry. We're trying to make a point about affordability and availability of education. That what happens to people who can afford all these things, you know, some parents can only afford to pay the tuition. So what happens to these other funny things? For example, the price of a uniform is the same price as tuition. In some schools it's higher. Then and to make matters worse, then you get this kalitoga nimukatiko musikat. Like, I never understand that point. Why do you give kids very big clothes? And a kid is putting on a shirt, supposed to be a short sleeve, but the area, like, then you have to strike like, why don't you measure like this?
That is even lighter. Or there is also another school that gives very short ones and very tight ones, so that by next year you're actually paying for another set.
That is also true. And that's very unfair. But Robert,
it's
also
kind of crazy.
I didn't know that, by the way.
It happened. I've seen it happen. 1 year, each year you're almost buying new set. And from the same school, I'm like, why when you are giving out this set to the child, why didn't you give them, at least the size that fits them or, every year?
Teachers are really smart.
And they are the ones who will tell you, no, this dress is
Robert
now short.
Robert talked about
requirements?
No, homework and what?
Yes.
Let me give you a reality shock. Tell you what, when kids get holidays, have you seen the holiday packages they give kids? Man, like, where this kid needs a rest, a break from school. It's human nature.
And that's why the purpose,
that holiday
that's the purpose
package
of holidays.
For
the mind to rest, rejuvenate, and be able to carry on.
The kid wakes up to work, she sleeps to work, like the whole day work. When will they learn home economics, like the things of home? Sweeping, cooking, to socialize. Let's not make education like a scare. Actually, people, and we should create spaces for everyone to be able to learn. Let me tell you something else that happens in schools that is also a bit tricky and funny and worrying. When we send kids to schools, I'm told this happens, and I'll start with, there's, I don't know for some of us who have kids who are in low class and what. I am told that, okay, let's start with the issue of sickness. One, I wonder why these preschools and schools of young, probably about 3 years, P3, they don't have an arrangement of immune boosting. Trust me, once your kid goes to school, the next thing you're sure is sickness.
Cough and flu, universal.
Cough, flu, measles, all those skin. Like, I think there should be a mechanism to help. It's not, I think it's very, very unfair.
In Uganda, if you have those pre-primaries and the term ends without them having cough and flu.
And measles, we need to have something, honestly. And we don't want you to segregate, but have some method. Instead of asking for these funny things, brooms and toilet papers, maybe you can ask for some boosters, or like we should have a way to help. But kids have sicknesses, which are very expensive to treat, like honestly and truly. But secondly, also habits. Now, speaking about the same thing, you go a bit up. Schools are also harbors for habits. You send your kid to school, and this girl was innocent, or this boy was innocent. When they come home, they either have drugs, they're doing alcohol, they're doing all these kind of things. Like, and schools, some schools are known for that, and for them it's... We talked about a school a couple of weeks ago in Jinja, where those guys pierced a colleague of theirs through the behind, a whole, sort of like a pole or something. Where does that even happen?
But you see, Felix, we are talking about all these things that happen in schools. I don't know if it's conflict of interest.
How?
That the powers that be may not be taking the necessary action, or it is shortage of funds for human resource. Because most of these things happen today. I want to give you a very quick example. We had what we used to call school inspectors, and I'm sure they still reign even today. Now, these guys will just land at a school. You get it? The school inspector just lands at school. Teachers are not aware, the headmaster is not aware, or headmistress, and this guy lands, then they will move to see other teachers in class and everything. Today, a child will tell you, Daddy, take me early, the school inspector is coming. What are you coming to inspect when we already know that you're coming? So there are so many gaps in that department of inspection of schools. Either they are few, or they are sleeping on job, or they are underfunded. Second, we lack a voice as parents, to be honest, that they can voice their concerns, and the concerns are heard. The things we are talking about today, remember, Felix, after COVID-19, when everyone had struggled, and we thought schools were going to reduce school fees or maintain what was there before. What they did is they hiked school fees.
Yeah.
Extremely high. And I know parents, Felix, we did these stories here, who are not able to take back their children for some time. because the schools they had been to had almost doubled. Who is the regulator? We are in privatization.
Regulating what?
Regulating these education areas. Who regulates? Because the ministry has a law.
What can a monkey do about a tree, a forest cut?
But also the problem still will be that the regulators all still are also... Because who do we run to? Who do we run to as parents? Who do we run to when schools are charging? At the closure of term, I know a school here in Uganda, at the end of the year, a lorry parks. They are taking rims that have not been used. They are taking toilet papers that have not been used. They are taking so much that they have asked parents to bring. And they are running to Chikubo. And they resell these things.
But Robert,
who is looking at these extra trips?
Yeah.
You know, who is looking? We had trips. You're taking people to UBC here, children to come to UBC, to go to Parliament, to go to the National Theatre, go to the museum. They are coming from maybe Bweyogerere, and you're charging parents 100,000. Each parent. If you have 500 students, how much is that money?
No, but Robert, what you're saying, I entirely concur with you. But I think the suggestion that comes out from what you're saying is that maybe we need a body to, the minister should help us also regulate some of these, what they want to call curriculars. You know, for example, like, as I've told you, it's a matter of inclusion and unfairness. Like, what happens to those? Like, I was a victim in Shimoni here, and I've told you this story many times. Every Saturday, and I want to send my shout outs to Mr. Seungu Gonzaga. Now I think he's an MP.
Your former teacher?
Yeah, he's my former teacher. My former teacher. And also Mrs. Rabushija, who is the minister, the workers represent Margaret Rabushija. Now, here's what they used to do. Not Rabushija, but the Honorable Seungu. Like every Saturday, they had coaching classes. And I think we used to pay 1,500 per head. Now, if you didn't have 1,500, like we would come and pace around, like when your friends come, then you start copying. Now, and these were like, they were doing those revision. You know how teachers are also shoddy. Like they put up revision things as if they did teach them. So, like, what happens to the kids who can't afford?
And
you get, because this is not about the curriculum.
Felix, point of information. In the laws, Ministry of Education banned coaching in schools.
Those ones are jokers. But let's go to Mullen here.
Almost every school does this.
It's a no. Even a very disturbing experience personally. I was paying fees for some relative, and I put this child on coaching because they were telling me that he was
the one. Now you're the problem.
Very well. No, the teacher advised.
Because the program is already in the school.
Now, when this child was on coaching, performance was very, very good. So I turned now, since this guy has coped up,
you removed them from.
Let me stop paying. Man, the child began performing.
You know, they say man ateth.
Then later, I changed school. This is the bit that alarmed him. I changed school. And after a month of children reporting back, the teacher calls me and says, we've not yet received coaching money. I'm like, this is broad day theft.
No,
remove the child from that school.
No, but Robert, here's the thing.
They still wanted more money.
Let me tell you the truth what happens in some schools. Some kids actually don't fail, but they are failed because they need to promote these coaching things. And that's why I remember we were on this show, and I think Mullen was saying, when you go, make sure you talk to the teachers. Like, I'm sorry to say this, and I say this with great pain, but some teachers make it hard for us to relate with them because they're asking for, like, why do you, like, these small things, because I can't promise I'll be able to do it continuously, so I don't want to start it. Now, kids are made to fail. Kids are called all these sort of things to kill their motivation, to kill their esteem, so that you can be bold to rebuild it. We have seen this. Let me give you another very sad reality. And our viewers, this is something you need to look at. Some of you who have kids who go to kindergarten, most of us pack snacks for our kids. Let's say apples, juice. You know what your kid loves? Berries, maybe some sausages or what. Kids, like whatever they like. Or eggs and what you take them. And maybe a couple of juice and tea or what, or milk. Now, Because this is what the kids eat when they're home, you think it's what they're going to eat when they go to school. I was talking to one friend of mine, and they told me that kids don't normally eat when they go to school. But because there's going to be lots of questions when the Molens come for the kids, the Chirabos will start eating these things. Teacher Chirabo will get down and eat the apple, drink the juice. Did Molen eat? Did baby Molen eat? Yeah.
Oh, Felix, let me tell you what I did. When I discovered that, I went to a school and told them, no. But they told me, sir, cool down.
Chirabo, you knew about this already?
Yes. They told me we are promoting the spirit of sharing. The way they reasoned me, brother, at a very young age, these children must learn that in life you share
with teachers.
Yes, you give what you have, you get, because we are not all about academics, but building character.
You see the boy shrinking. The child is shrinking.
Yes,
shrinking,
but learning how to share. So we put these eats together.
Yeah.
We bring your sausage, the other one brings their cassava, whatever. So we put them in a pool. We promote sharing. The teacher takes some, also to show that what you have.
So what do the teachers bring? The ones who are teaching sharing?
The knowledge.
The knowledge.
Of sharing.
But on that note, Felix, I want to commend a few schools, though. It's not all bad. There are some schools that have moved away from students bringing food, even for boarding section. They don't accept any eats. They just have this whole arrangement where in the morning they have fresh eats for them. Most of them even have bakeries at schools. So, you know, they remove that whole thing sharing, about sharing.
I've also seen that.
Yeah,
you're right,
and I think that's commendable.
But you see, Molen, here's a problem. Children being children are funny. They're kids who, being kids are kids. They'll tell you, Daddy, I don't like this. And really they struggle to take, like, for example, porridge or milk. And for them, black tea is a thing. Like, how do you deal with it? And I've seen it. Some of you have kids, you know this. A kid will honestly, they say we don't like bread. We don't, Daddy, I don't like bread. Like, and they really struggle. Probably some of them even go to point of vomiting. Like, schools should be another safe haven for our kids. That's all we are saying. Schools shouldn't be tormenting places for our kids. You know, and secondly, we are trying also so much on our side to pay money.
Yes.
Whatever you're asking for, parents are paying through the nose. Imagine a parent who has 7 kids in this day and era, where a nursery school costs about 2 million. The list can go for about 500,000. The very, very least, you know. So if a parent is breaking their back and they have to do homework for 4 kids, like, is this another job? So I think for us, today's story and our discussion is directly aimed to our brothers and sisters who are proprietors of schools. There's a lot we can be done. There are very many good schools. We also don't want to put that out of context. There are schools that are doing so good. I know many of them that have changed lives of kids. There are those schools we know that whenever a child has failed anywhere else, take them to this school. We know those schools. I know of one particular school that I won't mention here that has even introduced boot camps. They like holidays. They pick out these, you know, these funny characters. They keep them at school. They bring counselors. They have a full department of social workers. Like, that's the way to go. But Ministry of Health should also help us, guys. They need to be, they're sleeping on job on many things. This thing of tuition, school fees, practicals. You see, why would you license a school that doesn't even have it? Its compound is a veranda. Like, to get in the school. People can't fit, you know what, a corridor, like, it's a corridor school, but it's a corridor.
Maybe for the kindergarten.
Like, they have, look at Robert, they have
that one,
a school that is separated by plywood on a semester SST. This one is marked.
Then how do they have
you have a choir, or this one is saying dicotyledonous, this one is saying jam, this one is...
Because requirements for them to have an examination center, and this is where I've seen a lot of theft of candidates' money. That the child is studying from UBC, this is the school, it doesn't have a center, so they have to register that child from another school that has a center. Now, the headmaster gets this money. Of course, there is more extortion because he wants also to make a profit from the official money of government. Now, he disappears. These ones, at time of exams, the other ones say we didn't receive this money where these children were registered.
All these scenarios you put into context, we just making a big outcry. So if we can save us like these are small things, but they are affecting the education system. Parents are really, really disgusted with the humongous aspects that do happen. Of course, we have a couple of people that are coming in to make a couple of comments that we'll be reading much later, but also just read this one quickly. Good morning, family. We must note that education is not only a right, but becomes part of the basic needs. Parents are challenged to be supportive in various ways. It is a bit challenging, mostly for our illiterate parents. That much I concur with you, Derek. That is from, of course, now the Baganda have a saying that, Eyewe Zomumba, Cricket Derek Gagamel from Makine. Thank you so much for being one of our ardent viewers, and of course shout outs to you and the people there in Machine. Now we'll be reading much more of these messages, many of them coming in regarding this topic. Keep sending them in. Molen will be reading them later on. Now we do take a break. We'll be back shortly.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or gift.
Get freaky too. Dial *100*0# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *100*4#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *100*0# to get started.
Airtel, a reason to imagine.
Juko.
Yo.
Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the Parish Development Model, PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a poultry project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The Parish Development Model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
And in talking news, MTN has improved on their daily voice bundles. You can now call across all networks for the same price. We've talked to several eyewitnesses on the ground, and this is what one of them had to say. Amos, did you hear about the MTN daily voice bundles? So, to join many more other Ugandans enjoying these MTN daily voice bundles, dial *100*21# or use the My MTN app to start enjoying. Stay tuned for more offers from MTN.
The biggest, the baddest East African Christian Marathon is here. Come participate at the East African Christian Marathon for a prayer run on the 13th of August 2023 at the Lugogo Hockey Grounds. Come represent your family at the prayer run and run for a good cause to build the first call center, which will be East Africa's virtual listener. Come for the prayer run alongside your pastors, leaders, representatives from Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, Congo, South Sudan, and of course Uganda. Participate with Honorable Captain Mike Mukula, who is the chief runner and patron. Do not miss out on this opportunity. Make your donation for your kid now from 20,000, 30,000, and 100,000 Uganda shillings, because runs change the world. For more details, call 0781-885-055 or visit our website at www.eastafricachristianmarathon.org. Proudly sponsored by PKF, UBC, Venro Health, Aquafina, and Moving Preacher.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Buzanyo wa bettingi baby chimanye mbadde kusachingi azini huntingi kenkufunye maze sichegomba babeyita bebeyi tambula ndabe baby olicha beyi kwesunga rolijeko kundaba kwetaga oli muliro fire love yongeyo cha fire muliro fire tomvanga kutaya oli muliro fire love yongeyo cha fire tuli babutola nga nkyali mwakatola kyenva nkunonya ngali kakakola ndairo kukomba kupasi halitwawula tani ngebisota kugali nze nditeekamu amaanyi olikawo wake beyi akantagaza buli gyendaga beyi buli olikya beyi I know you already know love yongeyo cha fire muliro fire tomvanga kutaya oli muliro fire love yongeyo cha fire sikuzanya buzanyo wa bettingi baby chimanye mbadde kusachingi azini huntingi kenkufunye maze sichegomba babeyita bebeyi tambula ndabe baby olicha beyi kwesunga rolijeko kundaba kwetaga oli muliro fire love yongeyo cha fire muliro fire tomvanga kutaya oli muliro fire love yongeyo cha fire thank you so much. I'm introducing to you my other song called Nzena. On original yetasangika yalemerawo yetasanguka atoba ne bwomulabako ng'amasanyalaze kukubira alo andi ku mutwe munda nga kiwuka
tunavumilia nakupenda baby angalia ndiwo zena baby zena ndiwo zena nkwagadde nyonyo nempita tewe nandikomye kulaba mu biroto ngonkuma kakaliro I got to love you baby you got to love me watogutali musango okukwagala si musango kankole kalango kulange nga kalango omukwano gwo malidadi oli malidadi omukwano gwo malidadi oli malidadi kati nzenna zenna zenna ndiwo zenna 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 ono original yetasangika yalemerawo yetasanguka ate oba ne bw'omulabako gamasanyalaze kukubirawo lakalika andi ku mutwe munda nga kiwuka tunavumilia nakupenda baby angalia musango okukwagala si musango kankole kalango kulange nga kalango omukwano gwo malidadi oli malidadi omukwano gwo malidadi oli malidadi kati nzenna 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 ndiwo zenna 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 Thank you so much.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or gift.
Get freaky too. Dial *100*0# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *100*4#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *100*0# to get started.
Airtel, a reason to imagine.
The biggest, the baddest East African Christian Marathon is here. Come participate at the East African Christian Marathon for a prayer run on the 13th of August 2023 at the Lugogo Hockey Grounds. Come represent your family at the prayer run and run for a good cause to build the first call center, which will be East Africa's virtual listener. Come for the prayer run alongside your pastors, leaders, representatives from Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, Congo, South Sudan, and of course Uganda. Participate with Honorable Captain Mike Mukula, who is the chief runner and patron. Do not miss out on this opportunity. Make your donation for your kid now from 20,000, 30,000, and 100,000 Uganda shillings, because runs change the world. For more details, call 0781-885-055 or visit our website at www.eastafricachristianmarathon.org. Proudly sponsored by PKF, UBC, Venro Health, Aquafina, and Moving Preacher.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, good morning, Uganda. It is a very special Friday indeed, and of course you do have much of this entertainment that comes your way every Friday. But on top of that, we also want to take you through what is happening weather-wise, what is happening over the country for today, what we can expect as well for the weekend. And we'll be looking at the medium-range forecasts for Africa, showing us a picture of what is going to be happening today in terms of precipitation, but also in terms of how dry we're looking at, in case we also have areas that have temperatures rising across the country. And for this Friday, much of what we're seeing is that wet weather activities are expected, especially across the Elgon area that is around Mbale, extending all the way up to much of eastern Uganda. That will be also going inwards to parts of Soroti as well as Amuria, where we are seeing the light blue colors right there on the map. That is indicating rainy conditions expected over those areas. Now, much of the Karamoja region is also expected to be quite dry for today, indicated by the white color right there on the map, and that is the same for the southwestern part of the country as well as eastern central. So that takes in areas of Luwero, also Nakasongola extending up to Mubende. That goes on to parts of Midwestern as well, Fort Portal. We're looking at Kasese, the Rwenzori area as well. That is all expected to have mostly dry weather for today. Also across Kabale Highlands, we're looking at areas of Kisoro and Tungamo. That whole area is expected to have mostly dry weather. Mbarara as well, much sunshine coming in for today across most of the areas around there. And we also do expect that we'll have a pickup in wet weather activities for the northwestern part of the country, as well as central northern Uganda. So across Gulu, Kitgum, Padel, Lira, we could be looking at just a few rains coming in. Even then, that will be at a very, very small intensity. But as we look at what to expect for the weekend, as we move into Saturday, we're still looking at much more of a reduction in terms of rainy conditions across the country. We still will be looking at a continuation in terms of light rains for the Elgon region. That will be around Mbale and a few areas across the Elgon part of the country, but also for the northwestern area that is looking at West Nile. That is where we do expect to have a continuation of rains and a few areas within the Lake Victoria Basin. That means parts of Kampala, Wakiso, Entebbe, we could be looking at just light rains also for tomorrow, but much of the day is going to be quite dry for the rest of the country, and we do expect that temperatures might also be equally high for particular areas, especially as we look at much of the southern sector, where we do expect the temperatures will be a little bit high over there. And as we head into Sunday, we're still looking at a similar trend as Saturday, with much more of a reduction in wet weather activities. Still a dry days forecast. That is for the southwestern part of the country, extending into central, midwestern, and that also takes in the Lake Victoria Basin. So even here in central and as well as most of the areas around Lake Victoria, we'll still be dealing with dry weather. Most of that will be accompanied by much sun and quite some high temperatures. Also, again, same for the Karamoja region. That is indicated by the white colors right there on the map. We do expect to have mostly dry weather over there. Again, we will see a pickup in rainy conditions. That will be for the northwestern, majorly the upper side. That means areas of Yumbe. We could be looking at a few rains picking up for you. That is as of Sunday. So comparably, we're looking at a much drier Saturday is when we expect more sun, in case you are planning to do some activities that require you having lots of sun. You might want to focus on Saturday, as we look at more of that being associated with sunny weather. Now, as we head into Monday, coming back for the work week, we're looking at much more dry weather expected. The extended forecast is indicating mostly sunny weather expected for much of Uganda. Almost most areas within the country will be dealing with sunny weather. So that is one to also expect as you look at the start of a work week. But then again, away from the weather, we want to give you what to expect for this weekend. If you have plans and you're looking for a sport that you can actually take when it comes to watching movies and probably get yourself a good read, this is one that you can look out for. Now, we've been looking at some of the movies that have been streaming lately on Netflix and most of these streaming channels, and some of the movies that have currently sparked interest and have been most watched. First on that list is The Invitation.
Now, The Invitation is the movie that actually came out in 2022, but still among the most watched movies so far, and that is one that we have been looking at. It gives you a story of a desperate but very likable lead and refreshing light touch. The Invitation is ultimately too predictable to thrill, but look at what is involved within that thriller. That is also a horror movie, giving you much more of what to expect. We'll go through the trailer and then talk about the cast for this movie.
It was always just my mom and me. To have a family, that's what I really want. No way. I got a cousin.
That is the whitest man I've ever seen.
He wants to meet up. Oliver?
Cousin Evie.
It sounds so Jane Austen when you say it like that. You know, my mom always wanted to take me to England to learn about our family history.
There's a wedding coming up, actually. You should come.
I would love to, but I...
Come on, everyone is dying to meet you.
Wow, it's incredible.
I believe this is one of our important guests.
Evie, this is a close friend of the family, Walter DeVille.
Hi.
Hi. Looking forward to getting to know you better. Evie.
What are we doing down there?
Miss, you should return to your room.
We're all so delighted that you're here.
Which one's the groom?
The groom and his bride will make their grand entrance tomorrow.
Ready?
I can't shake the feeling that everyone is staring at me.
Can you blame them?
You and Walter seem to be getting awfully close, Evie. I'm curious, though. What has he told you about us? Ow! Let me see.
Here she is.
Where are the bride and groom?
As you all know, there has been someone missing from this table. But that once broken bond will be renewed tonight.
Very, very traumatic scenes in there, and you look at the horror involved. You think going for a DNA test is something good? Well, you might want to actually rethink that. That is a story of Evie after she discovered that she has a long-lost cousin, and on uncovering some of the secrets, learns that there is something funny and horrible with this particular new family. And in her bid to uncover that, it gets her into very, very dark places that gets to be not just adventurous, but a lot of things that you can uncover. That is the movie The Invitation, still showing and among the most watched movies since 2022. Starring Nathalie Emmanuel, who has been actually much more involved in action movies. She has been in a lot of movies actually when it comes to action and thrillers, and well, she does bring in the adventurous type in this movie particularly. And also Thomas Doherty, that is also featuring in that movie. Stephanie Conlas, who has also been a lot involved in most of the action movies. Now, more to that list, looking at some of the movies you can look out for, one that is coming out today. If you have seen a story of The Bird Box, that is the movie that takes you through a lot of a mysterious force that was actually created way back. Well, this decimates the world's population, and Sebastian must now navigate his own survival journey through the desolate streets of Barcelona. Now, the first movie on The Bird Box was giving another story on how the whole world was perishing, and this particular family was helped. They had to blindfold themselves and ended up on the other side of the world, where it was believed that there were survivors who survived because they were blind. Now, the next movie, The Bird Box Barcelona, is giving you another feel of someone else trying to find survival, and that is the story of Sebastian. That is one that we will be looking out for in this movie, and starring Mario Casas, who is also going to be playing the role of Sebastian, but also Georgina Campbell, who is playing Claire in that movie. Let's take a look at the trailer.
Stay close. Who's there?
Nos vamos. Correr.
These things,
take our fears and twist them.
What are you doing in Barcelona?
I found her. We've been traveling together, trying to find her mother. What about you? How did you get to us?
Lo que estamos viendo no son casos aislados.
With thousands of cases in Spain.
Cover your eyes and avoid visual contact.
Sebastián, está pasando en todas partes, está pasando aquí.
Salgo ya, cariño, salgo ya.
Hay cosas peores que las criaturas.
Hombres pasean por la ciudad sin vendas. Y ahora quieren que el mundo entero vea las criaturas.
They're coming.
We have to go now.
Lo que vas a ver no se puede explicar con palabras.
Don't open your eyes.
These creatures, they're changing.
Well, quite horrific as well. You look at how, I think this movie brings in a twist, because the first movie that we saw, this is actually a spin-off of the 2018 movie, not a sequel. So they're giving you different scenes on how these particular people in Barcelona are trying to survive whatever was coming with when you open your eyes. Do they actually end up surviving? That is a story that I would want to follow up. This movie is streaming today and will be coming out streaming on Netflix. That is a story that you can catch, quite an interesting movie, and full of action that you might want to catch up on. Now, one movie that is still taking attention from all over the world, all over the place, Mission Impossible, and that is still showing and now showing across a lot of cinema places. You can just choose where it is easy for you. And we're talking about The Reckoning Part 1 that just came out, starring that is Tom Cruise still playing Ethan Hunt, and bringing in Hayley Atwell as well, playing Grace. Now, Tom Cruise has been mostly in the Mission Impossible movies ever since it started. That is way back in 1986 when the first movie came out, but he has been playing a lead role of Ethan Hunt throughout all these movies. Now, with this particular movie, still talks about an American spy. 2023, the action movie is bringing out much more of what he can do and what he has been done if he's put on a mission. Now, Ethan Hunt and the IMF team must track down a terrifying new weapon that threatens all humanity. Now, if it falls into the wrong hands, with control of the future and the fate of the world at stake, well, a deadly race around the globe begins, confronted by a mysterious and all-powerful enemy. Ethan is now forced to consider that nothing can matter more than the mission, not even the lives of those he cares about the most. Well, that is a very, very bad adventure that he's about to take. But it is Mission Impossible and a lot to expect. Let's get into that trailer.
Are the sum of our choices. And we cannot escape the past. Ethan, this mission of yours is gonna cost you dearly.
The world is changing. Truth is vanishing. War is coming.
It's been a long time, friend. You've no idea the power I represent. It knows your story and how it ends.
Listen to me. The world's coming after you.
His fate is written. Shall we write yours too?
If anything happens to them, there's no place that I won't go to kill you. That is written.
Ethan, what's your objective? What's your ultimate objective?
Your life will always matter more to me than my own.
None of our lives can matter more than this mission.
I don't accept that.
That right there is the official trailer of Mission Impossible. That is only in theaters today. It will be showing in cinema. I hope you already have your tickets. Now, the teasers that came out fast, we actually did show one last week. We're not showing much more of the part, what happened after he tried to get away from his team and carry this mission alone. Well, that is Tom Cruise for you. But at least now the official trailer actually gives more details. We do hope that most of that story that we're trying to follow up in Mission Impossible actually does get to a good ending in this movie. So that is one that you should be catching this weekend. And of course, you can show up at any of your favorite cinema places and be able to watch that. But also, if you're looking for a good read, something that can actually take your mind off everything that happens in the world, but also as you get in touch with culture and tradition and family, this is a book that actually has a lot of adventure. We're talking about The Shadow Sister. This is a book written by Lucinda Riley, that is an African writer, and she does take you through a lot of stories. She is in the New York Times best-selling book, and of course she has written much more of the book. But with this much particular book, she's talking about a lot that happened in their early career as growing up in a family, but also looking at what she thought that brought up mostly of her 4 children, talking about her story. But in that, she brings out memoirs on what the world can relate on, and indeed some of that brings in a genre of fiction as well, but looking at more to a life story. And Lucinda also talks about her story being diagnosed with cancer in 2017, and of course much more of what happened. Well, a lot is about family, but also when it's all going down, and of course the story about losing someone in a family, a lot of that. The Shadow Sister, that is a book that you can get. It is available online, and of course also the audio versions of it can be found right there. That's a book that you can actually go for. It did come out in 2016, but still one of the most highly read books, mostly in the genre of fiction, and that is still showing for The Shadow Sister. That is one you can find. Well, it is Friday. We still have much more of the entertainment that is coming your way, so do stick around. Also, we'll be looking at the sports news, and Felix earlier did mention that we might have something special, so I do hope that this is something you can keep around for. When we get back, Ruben will be here to give you more on that.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
And in talking news, MTN has improved on their data voice bundles. You can now call across all networks for the same price. We've talked to several eyewitnesses on the ground, and this is what one of them had to say.
Amos, did you hear about the MTN daily voice bundles?
So, to join many more other Ugandans enjoying these MTN daily voice bundles, dial *100 *21 hash or use the My MTN app to start enjoying. Hey, stay tuned for more offers from MTN.
Pick of the day on UBC.
If I'm looking at issues of taxation and all that, I will definitely run for the Kateshumbas. Okay? Okay. If I look at, if I'm looking at issues of investments and what, I would definitely run. I would definitely run for Dr. Emure Kugonza and Honorable Omara. Okay? If I'm looking at issues of the law, I will run for our very, very own people. I have the Oboso Bosses, I have the Katuntus, I have the Robin Arwapojos. So everyone is talented in one way or another.
Did you mention Katuntu?
Okay. Yes.
Is he yours?
Yes, he is.
Yours as in NRM?
He is.
Was brought to you by
Gatawa with MTN Momo Advance. Momo Advance tops up your Momo to complete your transactions. Dial *165*5*3# to apply. MTN Momo Advance is always available when you need it.
Juko.
Yo.
Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the Parish Development Model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The Parish Development Model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Well, it turns out Ruben actually did kind of delegate me to do the sports updates today, and so I hope it does bring in much more information. But Ruben, obviously, he will have to pay for this. But well, we're looking at sports this morning, and we'll be looking at what seems to be a very good deal, but I don't know whether the Chelsea fans are happy about this. But well, Chelsea forward, that is Christian, actually did complete his 20 million euro deal to AC Milan. That is quite a switch. But where we're looking at the USA forward, that is Christian, who has completed his move, that is from Chelsea to Italian club AC Milan, and he's only 24, by the way, still has a lot to do as he moves around. But we do know that he has signed a 4-year deal with the Serie A side with the option of a further year. He scored 26 goals in 145 games at Chelsea and has played in the 2021 Championship League, of course, with a final win over Man City. So yes, he has quite been around. And however, Christian did become a surplus to the requirements at the Stamford Bridge, scoring only once in his final season. Well, maybe that's why Chelsea thinks it's okay to let him go. Well, he does again go on to say that for me it's a brilliant opportunity to step away, get a fresh start, and play for a big team like AC Milan. Well, it was difficult last season with Chelsea. For whatever reason, I wasn't getting the opportunity I wanted, he told a news conference at his unveiling. And of course, Chelsea released a statement confirming the transfer, saying that we wish Christian well and thank him for all his contribution during his time at the club.
And of course, that concluded his move right there. But also interesting is looking at Ashley Young. Well, Everton has now had a full sign back to a one-year deal. Well, of course, now what we do know from what is still coming on and has been confirmed is that Everton has signed free agent Ashley Young on a one-year deal after fullback left Aston Villa this summer. Young, who is 38, becomes Everton's first signing under the manager of Sean Dyche, and he has joined the club on their pre-season training camp already in Switzerland. Well, he did also come out to say that I'm delighted to be on Everton and an Everton player to have joined this massive club. Formerly, he has been the England player, that is Young, in his statements. And he says, I can't wait for the season to start. And walking out at the Goodison Park is going to be an unbelievable feeling to hear, and passionate fans that have been behind him all this time. He promises that this is going to be the season for him, and we do hope that his actually move to Everton is going to pay off. And much more looking at the Friday gossip. And this is something that has Eddie Mwesi written all over it when he says it's a gossip. But well, we know that Al Ahly are preparing their €30 million bid to praise Algerian's winger, that is Riyad Mahrez. And well, that is a move from Man City. And he's only 32, but it looks like much more of what is needed from him is an interest to join Saudi Arabia. Well, Al Ahly are preparing their move, and the City boss, actually, Pep, did say he's set to hold talks with this guy, that is Riyadh, to see actually if, amidst the interest from Saudi Arabia, he's willing to move. Saudi Arabia's club, also Al Ittihad, are set to make the €40 million offer to Liverpool's 29-year-old Brazilian midfielder. We're talking about Fabinho here. And this is quite a big move, and the money is good. So I'm only thinking Fabinho might say quite an easy yes to this one. Liverpool and England midfielder Jordan Henderson as well has accepted a lucrative deal from Steven Gerrard's Al Ittihad. And that is also one to look out for. This is a good deal, and I can only understand that Jordan would be quick to take this decision. As well, we're looking at much of Liverpool, actually. Whoever is living Liverpool seems to be going to this particular side. Well, we're looking at Thiago as well, who is now who could actually make a return to Barcelona this summer. Still in rumor, but we don't know. The Reds might, meanwhile, move for the Southampton's 19-year-old Belgian midfielder, that is Romeo Lavia, who could also be making his way to Liverpool. And we're looking at one that is happening as well. Man United are closing in a deal worth €43 million, plus €4.3 million in adds-on in the Inter Milan's Cameroonian goalkeeper. We're talking about Andre Onana right there. That could be a move, and Man U seems to be really interested. And much more of what is happening across a lot in there. But we're talking about Uganda cranes also this morning. This is a very interesting topic when it comes to, if you spin it off to Felix. Felix usually has his comments about the Uganda cranes, but we do know that the draw on Algeria, Guinea, well, the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers, Uganda's pursuit on this particular venture, featuring into the biggest football showpiece, that is the FIFA World Cup, will not come easy. Well, the Ugandan Cranes will have their 12th attempt after a draw for the 2026 FIFA World Cup that was right there in Ivory Coast. Now, it looks like Uganda was in a draw with Group G alongside Algeria, Guinea, Mozambique, Botswana, and Somalia. And it should be noted that Uganda and Algeria are in the same group for, again, this particular season. We're talking about the 2023 African Cup of Nations qualifiers. Well,
The qualification phase for the World Cup is expected to start in November this year, and a total of 54 African nations will be taking place in the qualifiers and have been pulled into the 9 groups of the 6 teams each. We're talking about the fate here of the Uganda Cranes, especially as they look into their journey. The qualifiers will be starting in November, and we'll be seeing how they fare. What are our chances into going for World Cup? Felix, we're excited that we're part of the.
Who?
Me and Ugandans are still patriotic enough to support and love the Uganda
really
Cranes.
has, actually, tell you what, the people who are actually patriotic in these are the people us. Who don't want to stand here and start causing fear, pretense and what. But of course, as we do prepare for this campaign, there's a lot that needs to be done, Molen, if we want to have this discussion, not turn around against us. There are many things we must bitterly agree to look into. The true reformation of our squad and of course the boys, the choice of the boys who will be going down there to make way for us to be a part of course, the forthcoming tournament that is in 2026. But the question is, how ready are we mentally, physically, financially? You know, look at our institutions. Look at because you can only use what's being done to predict what will happen.
We have gotten good shapes of our players. We want to concentrate on what we have.
You know, Ugandans are bold. I didn't know you're one of those bold Ugandans.
No, we
are what? Say that again, Molen?
Have you seen how our boys have been in the Ghana Premier League? I think that just concluded recently. Most of even the way they are trying to shape some of these guys off the Premier League into the national team. I think we could see something different. But of course, I do understand different when you bring in the aspect of financial support that is needed.
No.
But we do have the talent. My emphasis is on the talent.
We have the talent. That's no doubt. Clearly, the talent is not what the Cranes is looking for. They're looking for something else. Because if you want to discuss talent, it is not in the Uganda Cranes we see today.
Yeah.
The talent is somewhere else in Masiro, in the Uganda. There we see talent.
That is the talent that I'm talking about. So we need to be able to bring all these coaches. We need to, and there is something that I was noting from, I think KCCA is bringing in a new coach, that white guy. And there's analysis that I was... Okay, there is analysis that I was seeing from, and someone was saying that we are trying to change the way that we are coaching our talent. And that speaks a lot to, now, our coach, Micho, on how he's going to package his team going for the World Cup qualifiers.
The only memory I have of Micho is in an advert dancing. That's what I can tell you. So I can't trust him with Uganda Cranes, and I'll be honest. And that's my opinion. So if you want more about Uganda Cranes, the only thing I can memorize about that nigga is dancing in an advert of water, some water and what. But anyway, Uganda Cranes needs a lot to be done, desires a lot to be done, and we must take time and do it. If we don't do those things, like recruiting real players, you know, the president of FUFA comes out one time and says, guys are playing shitty football, and they're the same people he's bringing. Now, probably also, like the saying is, hey, who is the father? Can a goat father a monkey?
But me, I'm hopeful. Even when you look at the 9 groups that have been put across for the African qualifiers for the 2026 FIFA World Cup, we have been put in actually. I think we can get away in this group. You have Algeria in there. You have Guinea. You have Mozambique. You have Botswana and Somalia.
Exactly.
Let me tell you that we
how many of these teams have you beat before? Because
Algeria is going to be hard. That's for sure. Algeria has beat us over and over.
Again, Guinea.
Guinea is also another one to look at. Maybe we could.
And Mozambique.
Yeah, clearly. No, Mozambique. No. We can beat Mozambique.
No, you can't.
And Somalia. I think we have had encounters with them where we've had to.
Somalia. I didn't even know they play
then football. Botswana also has good football. Botswana has good football.
That's what I'm saying. All these teams are more organized and prepared for the trophy ahead of them. And you've seen them in the previous games they have played. You're looking at Algeria, Guinea, Mozambique, Botswana. Actually, one of the hardest teams is Algeria and Botswana in this. I don't know about Somalia. I didn't know they play football, but now that they're in that, they also give you a show for your life. But anyway, Uganda Cranes, if you want, honestly, I don't want to be here and start pretending because we are on TV that all will be well. I don't know that, I can't promise that, but well, we are there. So
a very huge call for FUFA. They need to have a way to get...
FUFA lately is not an institution you talk about in this country, so...
They are still obligated to you know, as the top body in
those
when it comes to
institutions have been ring-fenced. Honestly, they have been ring-fenced. There's no... Even we have talked. I don't know if what we see probably is not what they see. We have talked about who's the coach, who's presidenting over it, who's doing what. And that's something we talked about yesterday in our newsreel. Multiplication of tasks. You're having a president, he's a member of parliament, like he's all these things. And you know what? Let's just wait for those days to come. Whatever will come is what we'll take. I guess we are well with whatever will come out of it.
Well, we do hope that we get a very, very good team to go, because it's been a long time. We need to get somewhere, and of course, this is a very good opportunity for us to reorganize and get the best guys out there and go battle for our position.
You know, for the longest time, Uganda Cranes has not done like us. He has not given us any excitement in soccer. For now about close to 10 years, nothing to excite us about Uganda Cranes in terms of how they deliver.
You also not motivated them enough. There is no excitement. Did you remember the move when actually
you want us to excite them in
former
Rwanda,
goalkeeper, former
in
Ugandan
Cameroon,
goalkeeper, when Onyango was you know, captain, stepping down as captain?
Yes.
I saw the mood that was around the whole Uganda Cranes. This guy clearly did not go just to go because he was you know, exhausted here. He was not motivated enough to stay on the
likes of Ibrahim Sekajaz.
Everyone who is leaving, everyone that we had as a very good player ends up leaving because we have not...
What do you want us to do, Molly? What do you want us to do?
It's quite sad, but...
It is, but
we are still at the same roundabout and we want to go forward.
You want us to motivate the Uganda Cranes. They are playing in Cameroon tomorrow. So there's not much we can do. But honestly and truly, I think for the sports lovers and fraternity, many people now are switching to netball lately. Netball girls are doing us proud and they're moving the world and places. Let's focus on them for now. At least they are winning.
Well, we do hope that we get more wins. But we'll leave it at that. We still have Rona in the house. She will be giving us
she's going to be telling us about her music, her career, and of course giving us 2 more numbers for you, our viewers. And please, of course, just stick around for that interview briefly, then we can listen to more of her music.
We take a bit back. We'll have more to come your way. Good morning.
Is Good Morning Uganda. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Juko.
Yo.
Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the Parish Development Model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, it is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a poultry project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The Parish Development Model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Pick of the day on UBC.
If I'm looking at issues of taxation and all that, I will definitely run for the Kateshumbas. Okay? Okay. If I look at, if I'm looking at issues of investments and what, I would definitely run. I would definitely run for Dr. Emure Kugonza and Honorable Omara. Okay? If I'm looking at issues of the law, I will run for our very, very own people. I have the Oboso Bosses, I have the Katuntus, I have the Robin Arwakojos. So everyone is talented in one way or another.
Did you mention Katuntu?
Okay. Yes.
Is he yours?
Yes, he is.
You as in NRM?
He is.
Was brought to you by
Get away with MTN Momo Advance. Momo Advance tops up your Momo to complete your transactions. Dial *165*5*3# to apply. MTN Momo Advance is always available when you need it.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or gift.
Get freaky too. Dial *100*0# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *100*4#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *100*0# to get started.
Airtel. A reason to imagine.
Live from Nile Avenue in UBC Studios. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, good morning once again, and clearly you're awesome viewers and listeners, because you've been with us since the hour of 6:30 up to right now. Now we do get to wrap up our Good Morning Uganda Friday edition, but there's no better way to do that than to get to understand who is this lady called Rona. Am I right? Good. Runji.
Yeah.
So you said Runji comes from, is that like a...
My real name's Kobsinje Rona Karunji.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, okay, so the other ones are for the stage.
Yes. So AKA Rona Runji.
Rona Runji.
Yeah.
Just around that, when did you start doing this thing, music? Because I understand you're doing, well, how long have you been doing this music thing?
Actually, I started music right from my childhood. I used to sing in Sunday school, So with Namala University, I started to concentrate. I used to, actually I did some audios, nayenga bobimanyi, when you don't have promotion.
Yeah, I guess a little
so
bit.
So it's the hardest part of it.
I know.
Yeah, kati, it's way back 2019. It's when I started commercial music.
Professionally?
Professionally, I started in 2019.
Okay. How many songs have you done since 2019, professionally?
Since 2019, I started my commercial journey. I joined Silver Bubbles Entertainment. Yeah, managed by manager Mariam. Yeah,
awesome.
and Mlangira Daus is our CEO.
Yeah, Daus.
Yeah, so I've met...
He's a legend.
Yes.
He's been around and I respect him. He's a good man.
And a good man indeed.
Absolutely.
So I've done 5 audios. Thank you.
Okay.
I've done 5 audios with one video called Nzena.
Okay, so our viewers out there, of course, there have been a couple of messages coming in regarding the music and they like the music and what, but so how do they get your music?
They get my music. I use Rona Runji official on all my social handles.
Okay.
I use Rona Runji.
Like that on YouTube as well.
On YouTube as well.
So, do you be anywhere? It's Friday. Where do you do music anywhere? Because the kind of music you do has a little bit of touch of live music and what. Do you be anywhere as you guys, or unless you have a show, but you don't do?
Unless I have a show, yeah. When I'm called upon,
that's when. Yeah. So how can people get to Rona Runji?
People get to me through my management and through my social handles.
Okay, do you mind sharing? Maybe your...
My social handles.
You said Rona Runji.
Yes.
And the management is?
Management is Silver Bubbles Entertainment.
Silver Bubbles Entertainment.
Yes, I'm managed by manager Mariam.
Great.
Yeah.
So all out you there who have been sending messages about Rona Runji's music, you know where to get her. But of course, you can also go to her social platforms and send her a message in case you want to maybe have a chat with you. Have you done any collabos?
Not yet, but
someone was asking for a collab, but we'll tell you about that person later on. So what numbers are you going to be doing for us? But you have a guitar person with you, just...
Yes, my guitarist is called Tony.
Antonio.
Yes.
Okay.
It's Tony.
Awesome. So what numbers are you going to be doing for us?
I'm going to do my song called, it's a dancehall tune. It's called Eno Vibe.
Hey.
Yes. It's called Eno Vibe, and I'm going to do the other song called Status.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what is this song about, the Status song?
The Status. I was asking for my love to put me on his status. So my never to take up status.
Like what? Is WhatsApp status?
Like WhatsApp status.
And how does that help?
No, it helps in a way that when you put me on your status,
I'm not putting anyone on my status. But viewers out there, please make sure you put our people on their statuses, and clearly she's going to be doing us that very beautiful number. Now, I'll leave you in the safe hands of, do you want to stand or you want to sit? You prefer?
Let me stand.
Okay. I will leave you in the safe hands of Rona, and clearly, I can't wait to listen to the Status song. I can't wait.
You can't wait?
I can't wait.
Let's start with
okay.
Vibe. Now we tombow today. DJ play the tune again. Now we tombow today. DJ play the tune again. Tuzine tukunywe chupa kuchupa. Atasobola bere ya tumia wopia. Atugunywe tuchekole sagala bya kusumbua abakubanja bakwelese fetwaze kunyumirwa nawe tombowa today. DJ play the tune again. Nawe tombowa today. DJ play the tune again. Basically, twaze kukuba party, zetudde kati, fe twaze kukuba party. Oyagunywedde nyeno bwaguza, ebyana bisunda tebimuweza. Tuzine situle mpupu, but energy tetwagala mputu. DJ one more time, Akeshongoro one more time. Now we tombowa today. DJ play the tune again. Now we tombowa today. DJ play the tune again. Let's go for status. So we are doing status. Status ibuva ku mutima, chovola bolusi butuluma, kale newe kumya nti nanti dale, naye nga bituluma, kale newe kola ka makeup, choka enatekayo Liverpool, nakubuka, sikuteka wotonteka, nakubuka, sikuteka wotonteka, naye nteka ku statasi, nteka ku statasi, nteka ku statasi, nteka ku statasi, chinsaba ka postinge, baby gwe ka postinge, nanyumye ka postinge, akafananyi ka postinge, bu statasi buba ku mutima, chovola bolusi butuluma, kale newe kumya nti nanti dale, naye nga bituluma, kale newe kola ka makeup, choka enatekayo Liverpool, nakubuka, sikuteka wotonteka, nakubuka, sikuteka utonteka naye nteka nteka ku statasi nteka ku statasi yo nteka ku statasi jesaba kapositinge baby gwe kapositinge akafananyi kapositinge nanyumye kapositinge. It's nice having you. Thank you so much. Thank you, my viewers. Thank you.
Live from Now Avenue in UBC Studios. This is Good Morning Uganda.
And in talking news, MTN has improved on their daily voice bundles. You can now call across all networks for the same price. We've talked to several eyewitnesses on the ground, and this is what one of them had to say.
Amos, did you hear about the MTN daily voice bundles?
So, to join many more other Ugandans enjoying these MTN daily voice bundles, dial *100 *21# or use the My MTN app to start enjoying. Stay tuned for more offers from MTN.
In fulfillment of the Constitution obligation, which mandates the state to make reasonable provision for the welfare and maintenance of the aged, the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development is implementing the Social Assistance Program for Empowerment, SAGE, designed to provide income security and reduce poverty among older persons. Over 300,000 older persons in 146 districts in Uganda have benefited from the grants. The income security has made life better for eligible older persons aged 80 years and above, registered with the National Identification Registration Authority, NIRA.
Amazina ganjye ni banyita Karakwende Emmanuel. Hano aho ndi ni Karongo. Ni Seru yitu Gomborora yitu Bikibira. District ni Kyegeko. Emyaka nimbaro ubunywe kundi kubaranisha ni nkakinana. Kuzihurira zikije bari kutugambira babiri batukurire nk'umusero. Nibo batugambire kuzizire. Beje batwandikiza. Ubwire kubwa ikiri twaze bazitu